about time that we got started with this week's episode of GrowShow. GrowShow is the only live streaming show on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook that teaches you science-backed tools and techniques to help you grow your business, grow your team, and grow yourself. My name is David Meade. I'm an international speaker. I work with organizations all across the world on the science of high performance, teaching them tools and techniques to help them move from good to great. And we have got an audience that's coming in from all over the world, so thank you so much for so many of you coming in to join us. Let's say hello to a few. We've got Melissa coming in from Springfield. Thank you for joining us, Melissa. We've got Nadeem coming in from London. Great to have you here. Glenn is skiving off work. Glenn, I can assure you, with the impact that this show will make on your business, your boss will be delighted. And my friends at Canon are tuning in as well. Long time no see. I cannot wait to join you at one of your conferences again soon. And lots more people coming in. We've got, Nadeem is coming in from PwC in London. I've loved working with the team at PwC. We've got Sean Sampson, who's working with me at NICA this year. NICA is one of my biggest international clients. I'm supposed to be with them in Washington, D.C. really soon, but we are going virtual. And you know, the great thing about these virtual events is it gives us the opportunity to still come together in unusual times. This episode of GrowShow is all about persuasion. I'm going to teach you some proven science-backed sales secrets that will help influence and grow your performance and your bottom line. Whether or not the word sales is in your job, I promise you, you're always selling something. You might not be flogging cars off a car lot, but if you're in the insurance industry, you're trying to sell. If you are in, even if you're in the charity sector, you're trying to sell the impact of the work that you do. No matter what, our job is always to increase our likelihood of hearing the word yes. And even if you don't sell a physical product, sometimes it's just about influencing a colleague to move in your direction, to say yes or no to the right course of action that you know is a good fit for them. But it's really important that I make a brief ethical point before we kick off. All of the tools and techniques that I present are evidence-based and science-backed, so if you use them, it will increase your likelihood of success. But I don't want to teach you how to get people to say yes to things that are not a good fit for them. For me, I'm presenting these techniques so if you have the right solution, to make sure that you don't accidentally self-sabotage by presenting the right solution in the wrong way. And our first experiment looks at the question, is less really more? Now, as human beings, you know we love choice. You know that we love to have options. Many brands are built on their varieties. Heinz has 57 varieties. It's been part of their brand for a really long time. I tend to think that we love this culture of a buffet, don't we? It's like being at a wedding. You like to be able to fill up your plate with the things that only you like. Frankly, that's the only reason I go to weddings. I don't want to hurt your feelings, but if you've invited me to your wedding and I went, I can assure you, I was more interested in the chicken wings than the wedding rings. So for me, it's this choice that fascinates me. And one researcher wanted to check and see if less really was more. She had a huge sample of nearly 100 participants, and they were making choices about their pension and retirement preparedness. Now, I want to be clear here. Every option that they had in front of them, every product that they could have bought was definitely a good fit for them. It gave them tax efficiencies, and their employers were making generous contributions. There were no bad options or no bad choices, but this researcher wanted to see what happens when we have many choices versus few choices. Well, the results might surprise you, but before I tell you, I'd like you to let me know inside the comments. When you're making a buying decision yourself, do you like to have more options or less? Let me know inside the comments. Are you the type of person who likes to see 20 or 30 possible courses of action, or do you just want to see the top one or two? Which do you think might be more effective from a sales point of view? Well, the results were fascinating. What the researcher found was when participants were presented with only two options, for their pension preparedness. In other words, A or B, the conversion rate was about 75%. Now, if you're a professional salesperson, if you're in business development, you'll know that's a pretty solid rate. 75% is very good. However, what they found was when they introduced more options, the likelihood of closing that deal and getting the person to sign on the bottom line significantly reduced. In fact, it went down by 20% at the most extreme level. Why is that the case? Because as human beings, we fall victim to a really common condition called analysis paralysis. You might not realize this, but every day you make roughly 70 decisions. Are you going to have breakfast, tea or coffee, lunch in or lunch out? Will you stay at work or will you go home? Will you have a nap or visit your parents? The fact is, all of these decisions mount up, and the more decisions we make every day, the more difficult the subsequent decisions become after that. If you're asking a customer to make a buying decision, you must reduce the burden to buy by making it easier for them to make that choice instead of harder. And the biggest brands in the world have realized this recently. Our good friends at Procter & Gamble tried an experiment. The Head & Shoulders line is one of their most successful, but it's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger through the years. A few years ago, they decided to reduce the line by 42%. Now, this was a huge commercial risk. Some of their customers will have been really committed to the solutions, but when they did it, their sales increased by 10%. And I know this seems counterintuitive, but actually by reducing the options, it makes it easier for us to guide ourselves towards the right solution. But the research doesn't stop there. In just a couple of minutes, I'm going to show you a proven piece of research that increases your likelihood of hearing the word yes, that will increase your conversion rate by 10 times. Now, this is not by 10%. This is 10 times more likely to get a yes. So make sure that you stick around until the end of the episode. And if you'd like to get more information on the research that we're covering in this episode of GrowShow, then in the comments now, leave the word fact sheet, and we will send you through some links to supplementary reading and research that you can read to deepen your knowledge and share it with your team. If you'd like to get that fact sheet right now, then log on to growshow.com and you will get it straight away. But before we do, it's time for an urgent appeal. Here on GrowShow, we're working really hard every week to bring you proven tools and techniques that help you grow your business, grow your team, and grow yourself. But we can only do this with your help. So please now take a moment to help us grow GrowShow. Please tag a colleague in the comments who you think might learn something. Please share this video to your LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube friends. Send a link to someone that you know might like to learn from it. It really does help us. Every week it's growing, and it's only growing with your help. So please now take a moment to help us grow GrowShow. We can only grow GrowShow if you help us grow. Sorry, I'm having a seizure. So please do share it. Please do tag in a colleague. It really does help us out. Experiment number 2 comes from our friends in the retail industry, but I promise you it has application for every single sector. Did you know when you walk into a supermarket, the average number of options in front of you is around 42,000? This is analysis paralysis on steroids. It's a cacophony of possible choices, and it makes it really difficult for us to make the reasoned and informed choices that we need to every day. So some clever researchers wanted to see what impact constraining choice of a discretionary spend item would make. So here's what they did. They took a stand at the opening front of a supermarket and offered some items that a person did not intend to buy. It was a particular type of jam. Now, the reason this is important is this was discretionary spend. This product was not for sale in the store. So if anyone did buy it, they bought it discretionarily. That's a really good sale. When you sell something that a person didn't actually intend to buy, that shows you that you've sold it well and effectively. Now, my question to you is, which performed better? The weekend when they had 6 options or the weekend when they had 24 options? Let me know inside the comments. Do you think it would make a big difference, a medium difference, a small difference, or no difference whatsoever? Let me know inside the comments now, and we will come to your comments in just a moment. Now, remember, one stand had 6 jams for them to sample and taste and then choose to buy. The other stand had 24. When there were 24, the conversion rate was about 3%. Now, some of you will say, that's a terrible conversion rate, 3%. I would be disappointed with that. But remember, this is discretionary spend. This is money that the customers did not intend to spend when they walked into the store. However, when they only had 6 items, when they only had 24 options, it was 3%. But when it went down to 6 items, it skyrocketed up to a 30% conversion rate. This is astonishing when you think about it. That means that's a 10 times increase in conversion. For what? It didn't cost a single penny. There was no additional advertising, no additional marketing of any kind. The only thing that shifted was the amount of options that they were able to choose between. So we have to remember the extraordinary power of reducing and constraining choices. The Golden Cat Corporation know this very well indeed. A few years ago, they decided to remove the bottom 10% of their product line. They were the ones that were performing least well, and when they did, profits jumped by 87%. Now, there are a couple of reasons for this, perhaps. Perhaps one of the reasons is that, of course, there were fewer choices for their customers to make, number one. But also, they probably had less work to do in the factory, making fewer lines, and they could focus their production a little bit more. So I need to ask you the question, how can you constrain your offering to increase your results? And if you have been a naughty boy or a naughty girl, then if you're ever up for parole, try to make sure that your decision is made in the AM, because AM parole decisions are roughly successful about 70% of the time, but in the PM, only 10% actually get that yes that they need, because as the day goes on, it becomes significantly harder for us to make decisions. So how do you apply this material? How do you use this to grow your sales? Well, before I tell you, I need to give you a word of caution. I'm not telling you to throw out all of your products. In fact, some brands are driven by their wide choice. It's that that makes them successful. In the United States, the Cheesecake Factory has over 250 items on their menu. If they were to reduce that, it would change the way their customers see them. And if you're in the catalog industry or business, then that wide choice is part of your USP. But it's really rare that businesses can differentiate themselves on huge wide choice. So what I need all of you to do now is take an honest look at your offering. Can you potentially shrink or make your product line more efficient? Is it really performing optimally? The second thing is ask yourself, could you do the same thing as the Golden Cat Corporation? Could you cut off the bottom 10% of your products every year? Ask yourself, is it really worth you investing time and money in advertising, stocking, and manufacturing this? But also carry out some friction analysis. Analysis paralysis is one of the frictions that holds up your customers, but there are many others. Cost could be one, the speed of application or implementation, even convenience. How easy is it to buy from you? And finally, the risk of swapping. Is it dangerous for your customer to move from their current provider to you? These are all friction analyses that you need to consider. And if you're in one of those industries where you cannot remove a product, you can't shrink your range, then consider bunching or grouping them together. That really does make a huge, big difference. Perhaps put them into groups of top, middle, bottom, gold, silver, bronze, good, better, best, Father, Son, Holy Ghost. I apologize, I'm an Irish Catholic. We have to say it at least once every day. If you do that, and then underneath, you can have subcategories, because it's easier to get a customer to make 2 small decisions than it is to have them make 1 big decision. But also, I'm not just talking about sales. Think about the decisions that you need your colleagues to make. Is there a choice that you need your boss to sign off or rubber stamp? The less information you can give them, the less choices to cloud their judgment, the more likely they are to say yes to something. So let's go through our comments and see where we are. We've got Aidan is coming in. Aidan, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate you coming and seeing us. Let me see. Terry is saying go with 6 options. So thank you for that. And Nadeem is asking for the fact sheet. We will make sure that you get it. Nadeem, do not worry indeed. Glenn is saying, I think this is why iPhones are so popular. You're absolutely right. They constrain their offering, Glenn, and it makes it significantly better. Brendan is saying, not a fan of the subway approach. And Andrew is saying, 4 options, so you pick number 3. Andrew, decades worth of research has proven that 3 really is the magic number. So you are spot on. And Clodagh is saying, I always go for the middle option. Thank you, Clodagh, for taking the time to join us. And thank you to everyone. Who else have we got? Michael Burke is coming in from Seaford. He's raking the leaves while learning how to rake it in. That is a beautiful line. I think I'm going to steal that. So thank you so much, everyone, for taking the time to join us. I'm now going to choose someone at random to win some GrowShow swag. So let's see who it will be this time. I'm going to scroll up and down. I'm looking away, so I can't see who it is. And our winner is Nolene McKenna. Nolene, if you could send me a direct message on LinkedIn, I'll make sure that you get your choice of an insulated coffee mug or a lovely actual ceramic mug, if you like. And honestly, they're surprisingly decent, I can assure you. So folks, thank you so much for tuning in this week. If you would like to catch future episodes, remember, we live stream every Wednesday at 3 p.m. UK, 10 a.m. Eastern in the US. Our next episode is on moving from good to great as a leader. What are the small changes that you can make to get significantly better results from your team? Remember to click follow on my LinkedIn page if you'd like to get a notification. Click subscribe on YouTube and ring the bell so that your phone buzzes when I go live next time. And click like on Facebook so you can get all of the notifications that you need. And if you are hosting a virtual or live and in-person event for your team, since lockdown, I've done virtual, remote masterclasses and events for all of these great businesses. If you'd like to inspire your team with a session just like this that is written from the ground up specifically around then drop us a line. We would love to be involved. So thank you so much for joining me for another episode of GrowShow. It has been great to get the opportunity to spend some more time with you, and I'll see you next time for the next episode of GrowShow.